Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSi DFS. Going to be looking at the 8-game early main slate, I don't know what to call it, on Saturday here for DraftKings. Complete opposite slate of Friday night, where we had all those amazing pitching options. This slate, there's just nothing. It's terrible for pitching. I'm just going to say it right there. I think we have 7 teams, so almost half have an implied total of 5 or more. So it's pretty crazy, but let's just kind of dive right into it. Christian Javier up at the top, 10.6K. He's been, probably the most consistent pitcher of any of the options available to us here. He's been allowing quite a few home runs lately, but still, he's going up against the Angels. Pretty middle of the pack offense in terms of like strikeout rate, WRC plus, all those advanced metrics and everything. And they actually faced Javier a couple weeks ago, and Javier just mowed him down. He had 11 strikeouts against them. He put up 33 DK points. It was like his best start of the entire season. So second time around might be a little bit different, but still, I think Javier, given what else we have available, cash games, you're probably going to be playing him. Berrios, big boom bust guy. He saw a huge salary bump. He was only 7.6K in his last start. He bumped almost $2,000. And I don't really understand it because he's facing a Mets team who has the 3rd lowest strikeout rate in the entire league against right-handed pitching. So low strikeout rate team, big balloon in salary. Like I say, he's a big boom bust kind of pitcher. He always kind of has been. Like, he's going to get you your 25 DK points, or he's going to get you 6. You never really know which one's going to show up. So GPP only for Berrios, but even then, I don't have a whole lot of interest. Mackenzie Gore, he's been phenomenal in terms of his strikeout rate so far in the season. He's facing Philadelphia, which is a great matchup for strikeouts. They actually strike out the 5th most against left-handed pitching in the entire league. He's had some home run issues as of late. Past couple of starts, he's been allowing quite a few of them. And Philadelphia does have some of those big bats. They're ranked top 10 ISO, which is slightly concerning. But when you look at their on base plus slugging percentage, they're a bottom 5 team, a bottom 5 offense. So if you can corral these home runs that he's been allowing, I think that this could be a solid matchup. Definitely going to have him in my player pool at 9.2K. Andrew Heaney, talked about him quite a bit, I feel, over these past few videos. He's got that big strikeout rate, which, has been kind of off the past couple of starts. But he does allow a lot of hard contact and a lot of fly balls. So going up against Seattle is a bit of a scary matchup with, the amount of power that they can have in their lineup. But still, Seattle, they strike out a whole lot. I mentioned that Philly is a top 5 strikeout team against left-handed pitching. Well, Seattle is a top 3 strikeout team against left-handed pitching. So the strikeouts can definitely be there for Heaney. He's got some decent upside. Yuri Perez going up against Oakland, best matchup of the entire day. Facing Oakland in a day game, I think I saw the stat, they have 1 win in day games this season, and they've played 23 of them. I don't know, it's some absurd stat. So Yuri Perez, he's that massive, tall pitcher, top prospect, excellent matchup. We just saw Cabrera from Miami strike out 10 of these Oakland bats. They got shut out on Friday. So definitely like Perez, 8.7K, totally fine, especially when you look at everything else around the guys on the slate. So spent a lot of time on those top 5 guys. It's because there's not a lot of after that. Sandoval, don't really have too much interest in him. He's got a low strikeout rate. He's walking a whole lot of guys. Just tough to get any interest in him there. Strom, he's a pitching opener. He's not going to go super deep. Maybe he only gets 2 innings. That's it. So no thanks. Not paying that at 8K. Montgomery, he's the one guy that I might have some interest here in the mid-tier, facing off against Pittsburgh. But his May has been awful. He's got an ERA over 6 in May. He's allowing home runs, sometimes multiple home runs in every single start. His strikeout rate's down. It's just bad all around the board. But he is facing off against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had that blistering hot start to start the season, but they've kind of tapered off and settled down moving forward here. So we know what Montgomery can have. So I'm hoping he kind of gets it back here, just because really in this mid and low tier, there's not a lot to like. But Montgomery would probably be one of my favorites. Ortiz, he's only had 4 starts on the season. He's allowed multiple earned runs in all of his 4 starts. He's pitched okay in his past 2, but given the price, given the matchup, I just don't have a whole lot of interest in Ortiz. McGill, he can't strike anybody out at this rate. We mentioned in the last video, Toronto is a very low strikeout team. McGill's strikeout rate is like 8 percentage points lower than what it has been in years past. So I don't know what's going on with him. He has a lot of hard contact. Big fade for me. Lynch, maybe Lynch. Outside of Montgomery, maybe Lynch would be the other guy that I would target down here. He's coming off of injury still. This is the second start of the season. But he's already got a full week workload. Like, he had all those rehab assignments. He pitched 95 pitches in his last start. So, like, workload's not an issue. Decent matchup going up against Colorado. There could be some runs. It is in Kansas City. That ballpark's been allowing a lot of runs so far this season. But still, I think given the price tag and the matchup, definitely is probably, if I'm looking for some savings, I'm definitely going to have him in my player pool, and would probably be one of my top options below 7K. Ashcraft, Ray, Medina, Gomber. Not interested at all. So let's just go to the sheet here. I know I didn't put in the bats, but this is kind of where I ranked everything. So Javier, obviously number 1. Perez in that nice matchup against Oakland. Heaney, I think he's got one of the bigger upsides on the entire slate. So those are my top 3. Gore, Evan fourth, but I think he's fine. But then I think it's like a big gap, and then Barrios. Montgomery's really the only interest in mid. Lynch, pretty much the only in cheap tier. Ray, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's even a big gap. I almost have no interest in him there either. So I didn't put in the bats, but I already mentioned like 7 teams have an implied total of essentially 5. Like, it's like a tick below 5, but essentially 5 and above. And that's going to be Texas, who, when there's not a lot of cheap pitching options and you're going to have to pay up a pitcher, seeing a team with 4 guys at 5.3 and above, 6 guys at 4.7 and above is not what you want to see, and it's going to be very difficult to stack them. But still, I think they're going to be in a great spot here. St. Louis is another team that has an implied run total of 5 or above. Salaries get a little bit easier, but St. Louis, they've been very hit and miss. They had a nice slate yesterday. A nice game yesterday, but over the course of the season, we've seen their offense really be a roller coaster of the downs, ups, and the downs. But the one team that you would want to be targeting, I think, is going to be Milwaukee. This is another team. I think they have the highest implied run total on the slate, and they're probably the most affordable. So this is probably where the chalk is going to be. Yelich and Tellez, obviously, are going to be your first 2 guys going to be in your lineup with a nice lefty-righty matchup. Miller, 3.5K. I think that's a great spot as well. Ashcraft, he is more of a ground ball type pitcher. He only allows a handful of fly balls per game, but still, I think in that small ballpark, given the price tags, I'm probably going to have to paying up at pitcher. Milwaukee's going to be the way to go in terms of the chalk bats. Cincinnati, on the other side of things, they're another implied run total team of 5 and above. St. Louis, they're that team that's slightly below. They're like 4.92 if you look at the big details, but they're very expensive. But I think this is a great GPP play, honestly. I don't think a lot of people are going to be going towards Houston. They got kind of lost in the shuffle with the big bats of Texas and St. Louis and Milwaukee and Cincinnati and Kansas City, who's going to be affordable. I kind of really like these guys. Like I said, Sandoval, he's been allowing a lot of earned runs lately. He's been allowing a lot of walks. I mean, it's really the perfect storm. Can't strike anybody out either. So there's some strikeout. It's in like the bottom half of that Houston lineup. But I mean, if you're facing a low strikeout guy, maybe they get some contact, get some good BABIP, and now you got the whole lineup that's generating some offense. So I do think that Houston could be a very intriguing GPP play. And then the other team that is 5 and above is going to be Miami, facing off against Medina and that woeful Oakland bullpen. Really, it's just getting into that Oakland bullpen. That's what you're wanting. But even Medina, he's been allowing like 3 earned runs in every single start that he's doing. So Miami, I really like them. Going to be a very popular option. Soler, obviously. Arias, 4.7K. I know we've talked about this before. Like, yeah, he's got a batting average like of 1 billion, but like the dude just doesn't hit. He's hitting 374. He's got 1 stolen base and 1 home run in 53 games played. He's got no upside to him. So he gets on base a lot, but he doesn't do anything with it. So it's just a jumbled mess. And this is kind of why I didn't put in the bats. It's just because there's so many odd ways to go on this slate. I feel like it's pretty muddled. Oh, Kansas City. They're another team with 5 or more. going up against Comber. I don't want to leave them out because they're also extremely affordable. Only 2 guys above 3.8K. So they're honestly, they might even get the chalk over Milwaukee. I'm thinking about it. I didn't pause. I'm thinking about it. Kansas City, Milwaukee is probably going to be pretty popular, especially because you got to pay up for a pitcher. So, but that's kind of where I'm at. Like, things kind of get jumbled with so many teams in just great spots because, like, every pitcher outside of maybe 2 or 3 of these guys is a bad MLB pitcher. Obviously, a great real life pitcher. They're better than you and me, but you know they're poor on the professional level. So just kind of good luck, narrow down your search. Maybe kind of guess a little bit where ownerships are going to be lying and get off of them. Just because I do think that it's not a single team that you have to be targeting here. There's so many different options. Don't go with the super chalk train on the overweight side. So good luck in your contest as always. Really do appreciate the content. Remember, we are off on Sundays. We just take a day to take off for a break, but then we'll be back on Monday. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest, and we'll see you on Monday.